Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo Sport, and we're back with the FIA Manufacturer highlights from the Interlagos Group 4 race. So this race was a big fuel saver. Luckily for us in this lobby, a few people got disconnected, which meant there was only 13 or 14 drivers in, I think it was. But we managed to qualify P6 with not a very good lap, if I'm brutally honest. Qualifying did not go very well for me at all. Really was struggling for some reason, but yeah, we knew we had the pace in terms of race pace if we got the fuel management correct. So yeah, starting from P6, let's see what we can do in this FIA top split race. We've got some very fast drivers in this lobby. We've got Will Murdoch, we've got Nick up there in the top, and obviously other drivers, Amenti and Somi in front of us there. So it's going to be a hard race. We're going to have to drive well to get a good result out of this. And yeah, starting away straight away, fuel mixture. It was all about saving fuel, so a lot of short shifting in one mixture, and obviously using that higher mixture through the corners. So just trying to make sure that we stay in this slipstream for the start, for the first few laps, just picking up the slipstream with the 86 there, and short shifting mixture one. Now, one key thing we were doing with the fuel is always using higher mixtures towards the end of the straight as much as we could without losing the slip, and also getting into 7th gear with the Ferrari. Very important to do that, because any car that's got 7 gears, if you use that 7th gear, it will really help when you're in the slipstream. It will help you actually accelerate quite nicely, and it will also help save a lot of fuel. So again, through the middle sector, using mixture 3. Now, I tried in other races to use higher mixtures and it didn't really work, and it goes back to our practice race. When we drove our best race, we were using mixture 2 and 3 through the middle sector and just short shifting more rather than using higher mixture and revving out. It did seem to be more effective using a bit more aggressive on the fuel mixture, but keeping the shifts a little bit lower. So bear that in mind. In other cars it might be the same. So yeah, through this sector, lap 1 all going okay so far. We're just trying to make sure we stay in the slipstream to Somi in front of us. We don't really want to drop back behind 6/10, because then it's you have to push then to get back into that half a second range. So you're going to see if I start dropping back a bit, I start accelerating a bit more aggressive, and at the moment we're doing okay. Fuel, it's not the best first lap we've ever done, but the pace was quite aggressive for an opening lap. You can see that P1 had actually pulled away and broke the slipstream to P2, so he's obviously gone with the motive of breaking the slipstream and pushing on, which can work out very well if you get it right. So yeah, he's broke away from P2 there, Will, and then we got the Lamborghini in P3, another Ferrari in P4, and the Toyota 386 in P5, and then myself in P6. Just at the moment, again, just hoping that Somi doesn't lose the slipstream there. We're going to skip a little bit further on to lap 4. It was all pretty static up to that point. You can see no real changes in positions. Everything's the same, keeping the fuel saving going. And yeah, we're a little bit closer to Somi now, and the fuel is looking pretty okay at this stage. We've been doing okay, but again, into mixture 3 through here. Trying to use high gears as well. You can see going into that corner in 5th gear and then taking a late downshift to 4th rather than going in 3rd as much as we can. And then obviously down to 2nd gear for this right-hand corner. Again, what I was trying to do is try and get into the higher mixtures for the accelerator. So the lower mixture, like what mixture 1 or 2 for the acceleration zones. And then short shifting them rather than, like I say, accelerating aggressively in mixture 3 or something like that, because it seems to be better for the fuel. So again, coming out of the corner again, short shifting mixture 1 on the acceleration zone, and just trying to make sure we get a good solid exit from this final corner here to work our way up the long straight. So yeah, down 2nd gear. Now that corner you can actually do that in 3rd gear, and I did start doing it in 3rd gear a few times. It all depends on the line you take into the corner, whether you feel confident doing it in 3rd gear. But yeah, so far pretty static race, not too much going on. Everyone's obviously concentrating on their fuel, trying to make sure they get their fuel in good condition, and yeah, just trying to figure it out at the moment as we go into turn 1. Close to Somi now. You can see that the battle between P2 and 3 is very close there, and as we come through here, Somi looks like he took quite a lot off that corner there, and yeah, he actually picked up a 1-second penalty. So now that Somi's got that 1-second penalty, we want to get a little bit closer to him. So you're going to see me drive a little bit more aggressive this lap, because I want to get as close as I physically can. So pushing forward here, fast forward in the action. You can see again, mixture 2 through here. Not really using mixture 6. I found it more effective to use the lower mixtures and short shift. It definitely seemed to save fuel better. And again, we get the slipstream now. We're going to go for a move on Somi into turn 1. So we're going to go down left-hand side. Now, I expected Nick to stay to the left here because I was going to bump draft him, but he actually went back over to the right-hand side of the track. This then gave Somi the ability to go around the outside. However, we braked late, managed to slow it down late enough that we didn't take Nick out there. We kept the tight line, and we actually give it a little lift here. You see, lift off the throttle because I expected Nick to come back across the track there. So obviously with the line that he was on, he was pretty much always going to go to the curb. So we just gave it a little lift just so that we didn't contact with him and get pushed out. And yeah, now we're going to work our way into the next braking zone again. Now we're going to fuel save because obviously I thought, right, we're behind Nick now and we'll see what it's like behind him. Now, one thing I did know with the Lamborghini obviously is that it's not very good on fuel. So I wanted to see what his pace was like on this lap, and he does look like he just can't really push aggressively in that Lamborghini because the fuel is pretty awful on that car. Now, the fuel on the Ferrari is much better, and I knew that we might have to go ahead of him and see if we can push past and see if we can try and catch up that other group in front of us, which is going to be very hard at the moment because Amenti there has got the slipstream to the BMW, it looks like, and he's obviously been able to save fuel for a few laps. Obviously been in the slipstream for 6 laps or so there, so he's probably built up a bit of fuel saving, but it does look like that BMW is pushing quite aggressively up ahead of him. So yeah, at the moment we're behind Nick and we're just considering what to do at this stage. Wasn't sure if I should go for the move or not, or whether I should save fuel, but I decided that I think we're going to have to go for the move on him because I was thinking he doesn't look like he's able to really push 100%. I also noticed the car behind looked quite wanted to really push on, so I thought if we don't go for the overtake we might get overtaken from the cars behind. So I decided to go for the move and then try and lead the pack with no slipstream, which is always a difficult task. You can see our lap time dropped a bit on that lap there, so I think obviously Nick just not able to push that Lamborghini with the fuel situation on that car, and this situation probably suited him better now to be able to be in the slipstream. So yeah, this is going to be difficult though. We've got to push on for quite a long way. We're 2.5 seconds behind Amenti, and Amenti does have the slipstream there briefly to Will. I'm not sure if he's starting to lose it now. Let's have a little look in the brake zone. It looks like he might just be inside or just about losing it. It's hard to tell. That might be just outside the slipstream range. But either way, Amenti's had the slipstream up to this point pretty much. I think he's just lost it about the same time that we've now got slipstream. So yeah, this is going to be very difficult to try and catch up to Amenti. However, I was pretty confident that we'd got the strategy a little bit better in terms of the fuel, using mixture 1, 2 and 3 in the middle sector, mainly 2 and 3, and then getting into mixture 1 for the acceleration zones, and then short shifting mixture 1. So again, you'll see mixture 1 there before we get on the throttle, and then just short shift mixture 1. It seemed more effective than using them higher mixtures. So again, we're going to try and keep it smooth now for a few laps and try and do some consistent lap times and just see what we can do to try and catch up to P3. Now we have gained a little tenth or so there on this lap, which was a good sign, and you can see that the cars behind us, there's a bit of a gap between them, so they're not as closely bunched, which is also good because if people start getting closely bunched behind you, they tend to want to make a move so that they don't get overtaken from cars behind. But at the moment we're running this okay. We've got fuel in a reasonable area. It's not perfect, but it's pretty much where we need it to be, so we've just got to keep on keeping the fuel in a decent zone. You can see again mixture 2 for this section. I was very often using mixture 2 for them corners there. As we skip ahead now a few laps later, you can see we've done very consistent driving. We've kept our lap times on mid 39s with no slipstream and kept the fuel in pretty good order. You can see we've actually got pretty alright fuel still, so I feel like we've done a really good job at this stage, and we've actually managed to catch up Amenti. We're not far away from picking up the slipstream from him. So 3 or 4 laps later, you can see there we've done, I think we managed to do a 39.4, 39.5, 6s and 4s and stuff like that, all the way up to this lap now. So very solid driving for driving with no slipstream. And you can see Nick obviously behind us is probably enjoying this because the pace is pretty okay, and he's then able to save his fuel as we're now getting closer and closer to the other Ferrari in front of us, which I feel like this has been a really good drive at this stage. I was actually in the zone a bit, keeping it very smooth, hitting the apexes, and yeah, keeping them higher gears through the corner. I was driving exactly how we did in the practice session, so this was actually nice to see. Our pace was really solid there. Again, hitting the apex really nice there, getting it into mixture 2 and then 1 before we get on the throttle every time, and you can just see how close this is now. We're almost in the slipstream to Amenti. We've got the Lamborghini behind us, and we've got 2 Toyota 86s. This is all building up to a pretty intense finish in this top split race, and a really enjoyable race so far. But yeah, this gets better, trust me. Make sure you watch this to the very end, because this was an insane race at the end. We're getting very close now to Amenti. You can see almost in the slipstream there. As we come out the exit of the corner, we really push the limits on the exit there, and we're very, very close to getting into that slipstream, it looks, as we work our way up the straight. Let's have a little look on the delta. Have we got into slipstream? You can see just outside the slipstream. However, we are pushing a little bit more. We've got the fuel to still do it. You can see our fuel is still just about in the zone of being okay. So we've done a pretty amazing job with the fuel at this stage, keeping them lap times in the mid to late 39s, sometimes lower 39s. And yeah, we're still okay with the fuel. So we've managed to pick up the slipstream now, which is going to be perfect, because now we can just keep doing the same as what we were doing with a bit more short shifting, and then maybe try and push towards the end. So you can see one thing we do have to be careful of is if Nick wants to get past with his car, because he might have saved a bit more fuel while he's been following us for them 5 laps or so. So yeah, again, we've got a little bit of an advantage though of having the slipstream now, so that if we do feel on the threat, we can just accelerate a bit more, use the slipstream to help our car gain a little bit more speed. But again, through here, using mixture free, and again, we're just trying to bring that fuel back under control for a few laps. We've got to be very careful that Nick doesn't go for a move. You can see that he's very close. We've got the Toyota 86 behind us there as well, that's closing in on Nick, and this is all building up to a pretty intense final of this race. Again, using mixture 2 at the moment while we've got that slipstream. We don't want to use mixture 1 while we've got it. If we can get away with not using mixture 1, I would definitely do it. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Obviously, when we need mixture 1 for like the back straight up here, we will go into mixture 1. So before we go into the final corner, we're obviously going to get in mixture 1 there and then get out of this corner. See, again, using third gear there, that helps with the fuel as well. So that's one thing I did start to do, was using mixture free. Using gear free on that final corner and just letting the car coast through there and then get on the throttle as early as we can. Again, we've got the slipstream down the straight, so we're going to follow in Amenti's slipstream. And this is all tactical now, because it's all about picking the time to really go for that push. At the moment, the fuel is just about okay. You can see there, we've got a little bit more than what we need. So it's just trying to pick that right time to go for an overtake on him and make sure that you've got enough fuel to defend if you need to. So this is a real tactical battle. But yeah, we've done a great job to get ourselves back up to it. And also another thing, we've only lost about 4 attempts from the leader from when we overtook Nick behind us there and had no slipstream. So our pace was actually pretty decent. We're managing the fuel well. We're hitting the apex as well, and now we've just got to try and see if we can find a way past Amenti. Although Amenti's driving well at the moment. However, I think as we come up here, I think he actually goes a little bit deep into this corner. Let's take a look now as we go into mixture 2. He goes into the corner and runs a little bit deep. You can see he goes in a little bit too hot there. That's going to give us a much closer look at the inside. I do have a little look there, but we can't send that there. So we're kind of like half defensive move there as well, in case Nick tried to go around the outside. And you can see Nick is looking a little bit more racy now. He obviously wants to see if he can get past us to push on to Amenti as well. So this is going to really build up. You can see we've also got Will Murdoch there in P2 that looks like he's a little bit too far away to really be challenging in this race with only a few laps to go. But yeah, onto the final corner. And again, can we go for a move? This is where we really need to start mounting that attack to see if we can get the move done. So trying to get a good exit off that corner. You can see building the revs up, and I decided this was it. We're going to rev it out a bit more this time. Use that mixture 1 and rev out the fuel a little bit more. You can see revving and getting that slipstream. We're going to go for a move. Can we go for a little fake? I decided to try it, but it's very hard to do it on top level drivers because they don't very often fall for it. You can see again, he had that covered on the inside. So we go back over to the right hand side, and now we're going almost 3 cars side by side. We've got Nick on the right, myself in the middle, Amenti on the left, and all 3 of us get through there nice and clean. Amenti takes a bit of an awkward line through there, which is going to compromise his exit. And as we come out of it, I thought, you know, we've got a chance. So we try and stay tight to the apex, but using the fuel up, Amenti doesn't. He's not going to fall for that. He holds the inside line. And yeah, now we're going to have to go to the right hand side. And again, Nick's going to go all the way to the right. And we're, again, almost in a line of turn there. 3 wide almost as we go into the next braking zone. And again, we all come out of that all nice and clean. Amenti holds on to P3. I hold on to P4. And Nick holds on to P5. Just look at this as we see P1, P2. And then just look at this battle for the final podium position. Just insane racing. 5 cars involved on this final few laps, trying to take the final podium position. This was intense racing, and this is why we love Gran Turismo Sport. Sometimes we have bad races like with the dirty drivers that we had at Monza. Other days we have incredible races like this, and this is what Gran Turismo is about. Look at this racing. Nick's going to have a little look on the left. We're going to have to go defensive now into the right hand side. Menti also going a little bit defensive. We're just trying to, again, keep it smooth, short shift whenever we can, trying to keep that fuel under control. It's such a delicate balance of pushing defending, attacking and saving fuel. It's quite complicated when you're involved with this. You've just got to try and keep control of everything at the same time. Again, we get the run out the exit and decide again we're going to try and go for this move on this straight. Can we make it work this time? We've got a nice distance between Amenti in terms of the slipstream. The fuel is marginal, to say the least. We maybe went for that aggressive attack on the lap too early. Maybe we should have saved a little bit more, but we knew that Nick would be trying to go for the move also. So we're on the outside of Amenti now. We've actually gone almost a car's width ahead. You can see him in the mirror. There is a little bit of contact there, which pushes us wide and compromises our entry into the corner a bit, but we managed to get that move done up into P3, and then Nick also takes advantage and gets himself up into P4. So we're going to have to go defensive here, because Nick is obviously going to look at getting the final podium position. We've got Wilmer up front, picking up penalties every couple of laps. So he obviously had very good pace, but just kept getting penalties every now and then. Again, Nick right behind us, very close through there. Again, he's got the slipstream. He's going to go to the left-hand side. I'm going to go defensive on the right, and this is making us use up fuel here. So we're going to, again, go into mixture 3 for this middle sector, because I need to bring that fuel back a bit, because it is so marginal. You can see 3% fuel left at this stage. That is not brilliant. Really, you want 3% just as you come into the final few corners. So yeah, this is going to be very intense. And luckily for us, Amenti sent it on Nick into that corner, which clipped him a little bit and gave us a little bit of a gap there to push on. So we're in mixture 2. Going into this corner, we brake a tad too late and don't quite hook up the apex. You can see we just missed the apex. Had to go down to first gear, sorry, and rotate the car. Luckily, we got it rotated quite nice. But now it's all going to be about, can we get this car to the finishing line without running out of fuel? As Will there runs a little bit wide. I think he was deliberately, I'm not sure if that was a deliberate penalty, because he did say that he was going to give the positions back at the end of the race, because I'm not sure if he'd done it on a different account or something and was just testing out the BMW. So Will is going to brake and let everyone go past him. So we're going to actually pick up P2 briefly, but Nick is going to go for the move. And as we come to the finishing line, we run out of fuel seconds, not even seconds, half a second before the finishing line, and Nick manages to take that P2 position. So extremely close race there at the finish, but unfortunately we came out worse. So this is the overtake on Amenti. You can see we go really wide there. We're almost a car length ahead, and then as we come into corner, there is a tiny bit of contact there which pushes us a little bit further wide, but we just about managed to get into the corner. Tiny bit of contact back on him, but I think that's fair and square with the contact we had, and we make a nice move. So let's have a little look from Amenti's view again. You can see we're almost a car length ahead there in the braking zone, and then there is just that little bit of contact there which just pushes us wide a little bit. But again, as we come through the exit, you can see no real harm. I think that was 100% fair, and I don't think Amenti had any issue with it either. So yeah, good racing there, and we take our P3 in that race and 362 points. However, I think that changed to 365 when we actually finished. So yeah, we actually ended up coming out of a little bit more. But I hope you lot enjoyed that race. Do hit the like button if you enjoyed it. What an intense end to the race, and unfortunately we just ran out of that tiny bit of fuel. But yeah, anyway, we come away with a good amount of points, a fun race. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that like button, and I'll see you for more live streams and videos in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.